So, just like your podcast, we just roll.
All right.
There are no rules to swim out of the box.
Wow.
So, you can say whatever you want. You have to live with the consequences to saying whatever you want.
All right.
But welcome to Swim Out of the Box. This is Dan Lesniak. Dan Lesniak is one of my clients. I almost said one of my favorite clients, but I don't want you to get a big head.
Ooh.
So, one of my clients who is one of the most, I think, ambitious people that I know, and also finds time to consistently train for Ironmans. So, Dan, welcome.
Glad to be on the show.
Good. Give us a little bit of background, please, about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a husband, father of 3 children, father of multiple businesses as well, so lots of children.
Yeah.
And I am also a triathlon athlete. I've done 6 Ironmans, 6
Nice.
full distance ones, 6 halves. I've done a 50-mile ultra marathon. Started in real estate about 8 years ago. Became one of the top selling agents in the DMV area. My wife and I then combined forces and have built a very, very large team. We'll sell over $500 million this year.
Wow.
And a couple years ago, I wrote a book about my first year in real estate. I sold over $22 million in my first year, which I've never met anyone to this day who's done that. Not saying to brag, although I kind of am.
Humble brag.
But, yeah, so I wrote a book about that, the hyper-local, hyper-fast real estate agent. And I was just doing it to tell my story, and I got a ton of feedback, ton of requests for coaching. So a couple years ago, Carrie and I launched a coaching company, hyperfastagent.com. And by the way, if you want to get tips from that book, I give out 100 of the tips at hyperfasttips.com.
There you go.
You can download them instantly. And so that's 2 of our businesses. The third is our development business, which you and I have always talked a little bit about. But we've got about 12 projects in the works right now, just over 100 doors coming, condo developments primarily in D.C. in the next 12 months. So that's getting really big, and we have investors that, put money into those projects. So we've got those are our 3 primary businesses, and
cool.
Balancing that between trying to get faster in the pool and train
and also all family. I mean, you've got a lot on your plate. A couple of podcasts ago, we were talking about goal setting and trying to take a different look at goal setting. And one of the things that we were talking about was a not to-do list on that podcast. And then one of my other clients emailed me, was telling me about how she sets goals. And we kind of were talking about it. And we're like, it'd be really interesting to talk to all of our guests about how they set goals. And you would be a great candidate for that question, because clearly you have set some goals and either missed the mark or obviously made the mark on some of them. So what is the process for you for setting a goal, whether it's business or athletic?
I do them once a year, but then and the once a year at the end of the year, and I usually start in Q3 because and for our team we actually start in Q2.
Okay.
But I can get into that more later why we do that. But going into the year, I want to have all my goals for that year plus an updated 5-year goal plan.
Okay.
And I'm going to hit all areas: business, fitness, financial, personal, relationship, community. I try to hit everything. And
how long does that process take? The whole quarter?
No,
a week?
No,
a month?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, you can get
a
done
day?
a weekend or a day.
So a couple of days, you kind of lay out what you want to see happen next year.
Yep, and then I break it down quarterly. I have a journal.
Okay.
And I look at this journal every morning, and I'm tracking things, and I know we can talk about business or our athletics and all that, but I'll track down to like family. Like I want to have one of mine this year is 3 times a week. I want to be at home between 5 and 8 with not be on my cell phone at all.
Right.
So that's so that can be present when I'm present around the kids and family. So, and I'll actually mark down for the week how many times I've done that. That's just one small little example, because I find setting goals is great, but you need to track and monitor, and you need to increase the frequency that you track and monitor, because if you check in once a year, like a lot of people do,
right,
you could have a bad year. You check in once a month, like a lot of businesses do with their P&L and whatnot, you could have a bad month. If you start getting down to where you can check in weekly or daily or even more frequently, like you're going to reduce the time that you spend in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
And stay on track, stay on course.
So just because I'm curious, you get to look at this sort of journal, notebook daily, right? What does that look like for you schedule-wise? Do you wake up at X time and go, okay, I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I'm going to sit down and look at my journal. Then I'm going to go do the things for the day? Or what's your approach? Curious.
So I used to be like between 5 and 6 on my wake-ups, but I just found that didn't leave me enough time to do all that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And getting up at 5 or 6, I could get away with like going to bed at like midnight, but then what I started to find,
you're insane.
I don't need a ton of sleep. 5, I'm like okay. 6, I'm like, my 6 is probably like most people's 10.
Nice.
But I think more people could get there. I think it's just programming,
probably a little bit.
But what I found was I wasn't as effective that last hour or two at night.
Right.
So I decided to start getting up. This year I've been getting up at 4 a.m.
Okay.
And I've been way more effective.
Why?
Well,
I'm trying to understand why.
I try to squeeze less in at night. Like the kids are usually down by 8, and putting them down to bed actually like makes you tired because you're like, you're off your like screens, and there's all this technology about like, or studies on technology like keeping you up, right? Like fucking up your cycle. Yeah. Are we allowed to curse on this?
I said there's no rules.
Okay. So if I'm not, I'm sorry. But
you are allowed. I prefer it.
So just like having dinner and playing with them and then getting them to bed, not being on technology almost like gets you like really, really tired. And then I found I was like fighting to like work more again. So I now, at 8 o'clock, I put them down, and I'll try to do like 30 minutes to an hour of work more.
Okay.
Like I try to put a limit on it, and then I kind of wrap that up by reviewing how the day went, writing down what I didn't get done, writing down what I need to get done tomorrow, and deciding if I didn't get done, is that because it's not important anymore, or do I need to revisit it, or what happened? And I try to like be in bed by 10.
Okay.
And
up by 4. Whew.
That gives me 6 though, but I feel great on 6. Like I really do.
That's impressive. It really is.
So I've been getting up at 4. I will make my coffee. I put MCT oil in it.
Okay.
I have amino acids as well, and I go upstairs to my loft, like this office, and I sit in my Normatec boots.
Nice.
Drink my coffee. Nice. And I read. Right now I'm reading The Road Less Stupid. It's a business book by Keith Cunningham.
I'll have to check that out.
I've read 3 or 4 books already this year, and that's the one I'm reading now. I'll do that for about 30 minutes. Then I'll get to my journal, review the goals, review what I need to do for the day.
Nice.
I'll crank out 2 or 3 marketing emails to different lists. So I've got a real estate list. I've got a real estate agent list. I've got agents that I want to recruit list. I've got investor list. So I'm gonna hit at least 2, sometimes 3 of those with marketing emails. I will create some social media content, and then my goal is to be doing my first workout starting sometime between 5:30 and 6
a.m.
Yep. And depending on what it is, it might be an hour, it might be 2 on a longer day.
Right.
But the goal is that my kids like to sleep in, which is good. My goal is that I get to spend 30 minutes to an hour with them when they're waking up or whatever.
So would you say then for you a big priority in your life is having a very regimented schedule?
It helps, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you seem very schedule oriented.
And
Like I need to hit these marks sort of every day at these hours so that I can get the things done that I want to get done and live the life that I want to live. Right? That's what it sounds like. So, where did that come from? Where did that discipline come from? Because I think a lot of people hear that and don't believe it or wonder how they can get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've always had it. It was probably beaten into me by my parents, probably more my mom, because she was very disciplined, very regimented, like very like you're gonna do this, then this, like kind of the, I say it lovingly, but that was like an old school method of like,
right,
you're gonna work hard in school so you can get into a better school, so you can get to a good job, and blah 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 blah, and like. That can be good and bad. I think it's bad because it creates this false sense of expectation that can lead to letdown. But for me, it created extreme discipline. I went to the Naval Academy, and that only reinforced it more.
Yes.
Now,
well, there's an interesting, I think, thought out there
and
that is people that join the military, are they joining the military and then gaining discipline, or is it disciplined people that end up joining the military? It's an interesting thought. It sounds like you were already disciplined before you joined the military.
Yeah, there's probably some of both.
It's got to be a little bit of crossover,
yeah,
for sure. But I just where did you grow up? Where was the atmosphere? Florida, right?
Yeah, South Florida mostly. I was there since age 5.
Okay. I get really interested in where people come from and how, like you had mentioned, well, your parents kind of instilled that discipline in you. What was it that your mom did at the time? Like, why was she so disciplined? I'm like trying to get down this rabbit hole or this wormhole.
Yeah.
Like, where does this come from? Because I listen to you say these things, and it's like, on a really good week, I might be able to pull that off. But I never do a great job of maintaining it. I always fail. Like, I need to be much better and probably closer to what you talk about when you're talking. Like, I wake up at this time, I do this, and I do this. And then I make sure at the end of the night I have X amount of time to unwind and read, right? I think a majority of people listening to this podcast, or a majority of people in the world, want that discipline, but find so many easy ways to convince themselves they don't need to do those things.
Yeah, I've had other people along the way help as well. So like one of the things I learned from Tony Robbins is this process of attaching the long-term results to your short-term decisions. So like sleeping in one day is not going to screw you up.
Right.
Eating a bad meal is not going to make you gain 10 pounds overnight.
Right.
Like watching Netflix for 5 hours, one night is not going to like make you do bad in school or lose out on business opportunities or be disconnected from your family or
right.
But it's the consequence of doing those actions repetitively. So you have to go through a process in your mind where you attach the results of your short-term decisions mentally and emotionally to your long-term results and really bring that in. So play out in your mind like, what would my life be like in a year, 5, 10 years, and really picture it and feel it if I continued to sleep in or not do the work or watch all these shows, like, right? And then what would it be like if I got up early, if I created a new business plan, if I made a new marketing plan, if I spent more time with a loved one, right? What would that look like? And
it's really funny you mentioned that, because the last podcast we did, I brought up this idea of if you have a problem with procrastination, one of the things you can do is think about, would yourself tomorrow be disappointed in your choices today? It's the same concept. Would yourself in 5 years from now or a year from now support the idea that every night for 5 hours you watch Netflix? I would say the future self in a year probably would say you shouldn't do that. But your current self is like, gives you those excuses like, oh, you had a hard day. Just go ahead and relax.
Yeah, and I'm not judging it, by the way. Like if you wanna watch 40
Absolutely.
hours of Netflix a week and you're fine with that, that's okay. Just
right.
don't complain later on when you don't get the results either in finance or job or fitness or relationship that you want. But
right.
But again, I'm not judging it. It's okay.
As long as that's actually what you want.
Yeah, just be intentional about that choice. Don't go watch it because subconsciously that's just, what you decided to do. Like, make an intentional choice that's what you want in your life.
Yeah, and
be okay with it.
Be truthful to yourself. If it's not what you actually want, don't convince yourself, no, this is the life that I want. I'm okay with just being mediocre. I'm okay with just being whatever. If you are, and I know there are people that look at ambitious people and go, why bother, right? I know that's the case. But don't convince yourself that you're not ambitious just because it's easier to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. So that's very poignant perspective. Changing gears subtly, I'm curious to hear from you about your experience with me as a coach for selfish purposes. I want to know how I have either negatively or positively, and you can tell me the truth, affected your training or your swimming. Either. I'm just very curious. Put you on the spot here a little bit.
Yeah, well, my times have been improving. Usually, I've had some variations based on fitness level, but overall, my times have gone down. I know you are sometimes affectionately known as the seconds saver because there's only in the Ironman distance or in any triathlon distance really, there's a little bit of time you can save on the swim compared to the bike and the run, but the bike and the run, it's really, I'm not going to say there's no technique, but it's
way less,
a lot less, and you'll usually just get the time there by putting in the work. I think the swim is a lot more technical, and I think
to describe it as a higher skill acquisition. Right?
Yeah.
All right. There's a higher skill to learn to swimming versus running, where there's a lower skill acquisition. Same with cycling, especially with cycling. Very low skill acquisition.
I've gone from like 125.6 Ironman to down to 110, looking to get under an hour still. But it's just
this 2020. We're getting you under an hour.
All right.
Just make sure it's downstream.
I think the Cozumel or maybe Chattanooga both have like kind of one-way downstream ones. So
Chattanooga for sure. That's the one you want. That'll get you under an hour for sure. You'll be able to go under an hour there. But would you say that at moments with additional coaching, because I'm assuming you have a tri coach, or do you do everything by yourself? You do have a tri coach.
Yep.
See, I didn't even know that. And for most of my clients, I know they have tri coaches because they will come to me and say, my tri coach disagrees with X, or my tri coach doesn't want me doing this thing. All right. But you actually never really mentioned your tri coach to me, except maybe when we first started. It's been a while.
Hector Torres down in he's out of Orlando, so he does it all through the app Training Peaks. So my watch uploads the results, and he can see the times and the heart rate and all that kind of stuff. Less, on the swim, I think it can see like the strokes per minute and some other things. There's less data, but he's not physically here, so I think
it makes it easier.
I see him 2 or 3 times a year, and so he's not able to give me feedback, perhaps like some of your other.
I've never given you like conflicting information. We've never.
No, he's never said like don't do this drill or
don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Technique is
okay.
I know he probably shares one thing in common with you, that although he appreciates some of what total immersion teaches, he also says come race day, when it's just bodies and arms flying, the TI concept of just this nice tranquil whatever everything's flow and balance kind of goes out the window when you're racing.
It's more combative at the start of the race for sure. So it's interesting, because a lot of times I'm told or asked how we at SwimBox balance multiple coaches involved with people, so I was just curious how, if I ever put you in a situation where you had to explain something or you felt like we were going to butt heads, your coach and I, or something to that effect, or if I've given you information where you were like, felt like it was detrimental, like it was almost, I have been accused of giving too much information where it could be overwhelming. I don't know if that's ever the case for you, but I was just curious. Some of the negatives and positives.
I take the lessons that you give me, and when I'm in the pool doing my warm up for my workout, I'll maybe think of it, but then when I get to like the main set, I'm not really thinking of the specific advice.
Nor should you. Which, by the way, anyone listening, there are times to think about your technique, and there's times to think about your pace, and there's times to just go.
Right.
And it is, I think, incredibly important for people to get into the mindset that they're going to be in the mindset of on race day. And every single time you go to the pool, you should be practicing that, not just practicing technique, or consider practice as a dress rehearsal for every race that you do, whether it's a triathlon or an in-pool race or an open water race. It doesn't really matter. But whenever you practice, when you're running out on a trail, you can be thinking the mindset of, this is what it's going to feel like when I'm racing. I'm going to have to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to want to stop, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep going. Right? You can convince yourself that that is happening at those moments. It is a skill to be able to do that, but it's part visualization in the moment that you're actually training.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like this morning, I was in my warm up. I was thinking of okay, use my catch to as the anchor to get the other hip to start the turn.
Nice, good job.
And I was thinking feather out.
Nice.
Earlier. So just two things during the warm up, but then I get to the main set because that's what we worked on last week. But then I get to the main set and it's just try and hit the times. And
right. Keep it simple. You've done the thinking work. Time to turn the brain off and let's see what happens. I've only heard of people having negative effects when they are thinking all the time about every single stroke. So for some of my online clients, I will write in when it's time to think about something and stop thinking, time to just swim. So that makes complete sense. Anything in particular that you felt like really connected? Like, what was it that helped you jump from an hour and 20, by the way, just so we're clear, an hour and 20 Ironman swim down to close to a 110? I know it was not a 110, but we're going to call it a 110.
Yeah, no, a lot of it was just overall fitness improved. So my first Ironman, I was out of shape. I was about 20 to 25 pounds heavier.
Oh, wow.
And, my big lesson from that really was, like, you can't outrun a bad diet. So I didn't have the nutrition dialed in. And as soon as I got nutrition dialed in, the weight, with my volume of training, the weight just came off in, like, 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, it was fast.
Yeah.
And that translated into better times across the board.
Okay.
And then I just think it was more time in the pool, more lessons. I'd never really had lessons before then. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are weary of taking lessons.
Yeah.
It sounds remedial in a way. It's like, oh, I have to go to my swim lesson. But I would say, I'm going to speak for myself here, anything that we talk about is not remedial at all. We get crazy in depth. So I think there is a stigma around, like, I'm going to a swim lesson, I'm remedial, But I think there's also something very special about how you have figured out the balance between all the work that you do and your family and training for an Ironman. I can't remember the numbers, but there was some statistic a couple of years ago about an overwhelming of Ironman competitors end up divorced while training for an Ironman.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's so time consuming. And if you don't balance your life, you can easily see how a significant other is going to feel
get out of
neglected.
whack.
Yeah. So it's really impressive that you're balancing all of these things. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure your family goes to your races almost every time,
been
right?
To all of them so far.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
That's incredibly impressive.
All the fools. I think another, I have a very, very supportive wife, business partner, Carrie Scholl. So that is vital. Another thing that I think that helps is, like, I'm getting a lot of the workouts done before people are awake. So
yeah, that really, it sucks, I think, for a lot of people to think that way. I wonder if someone was more like a night owl, if they can flip that and go,
you could, yeah. No, because sometimes I have 2 workouts in a day, and usually if the second one will be after kids and Carrie go to bed. So
wow,
the second one's usually shorter, like under an hour. So that helps. Then another thing that helps too is like I do most of my bike training on the trainer,
right?
So I'm not gone for like 4 hours on a long ride. So the trainer's quicker because of 4-hour rides. 4 hours, not 4 hours and
plus
45
drive
minutes.
time, yeah,
because of traffic and stopping and all that. But B, I've like watched my kids. I don't like to use the term babysit your own kids, but
right. You're spending time with them, whether you're on a trainer or not. You're still spending time with them.
Yeah, like I got a little bike for Braden, so he'll sit next to me and
cool. I love that.
Play on his trainer bike, and Kier, well, they've both been down there for as long as 3 hours before on long rides in the basement with me. Our 9-month baby, he's got some work to do.
He's got to get on that bike. He's got to get going.
No, I mean just in terms of like if he crawls around.
Yeah,
he's a very fast crawler now, but he's 9 months old, so he doesn't know what not to avoid. Right. Like he tried to grab my bike chain the other day.
Oh God, 5 fingers.
And, well, I'd stopped before he got that close, but so yeah, he's if you confine him in the pen, he gets a little upset, but then I realize, okay, if he cries for 5 minutes, then he's okay playing in here. So
okay,
like I'm just like those little kind of things help, like involving the kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes on my easier runs, we've got a single bob and a double bob, so I'll take 1 or 2.
I don't know what that means. You're talking to someone without any kids.
There's this Bob company makes this stroller.
Okay.
It's a running stroller.
Okay.
And they've got a single and a double.
So if you want a lot of extra weight to push, you put 2 of them in there.
The single, I can run almost normal with the single, but the double's hard. It's got like more suspension, and so.
Why did you decide to get involved in Ironman? Like, you were a runner or cyclist first?
I was a runner first.
So, what was it? You were like, I know I'm going to take up cycling, and I'm also going to take up swimming, so I can compete in an Ironman. Why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, my friend who's a realtor out in near Seattle signed up to do an Ironman. It was always in the back of my mind, and I was like, all right, I'll do it if he's going to do it, and that was it.
Is he still doing them?
He did 2, I think. Yeah, 2 fulls, and he did the 50-mile ultra marathon with me last year.
Oh yeah, where was that?
Near Seattle, near Mount Rainier.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And yeah, he just attempted a 100-miler on Orcas Island. I don't think he finished though, but
it's a long distance to go.
That was it's a tough race, tough time of year to be running there. So, but I think he's off into that world now, more trying these 100-mile races and stuff.
I mean, just talking to you for this brief amount of time, and we do have a hard out here that we have to end up with, it's kind of dawning on me that one of the things that keeps me pushing is I kind of have remarkable people around me all the time. Like, you are one of them. I can name probably all of my clients who I can absolutely look to and go, this person is remarkable. I need to step up my game. Where am I failing that I can't get as organized as Dan? And I mean, I have people that are just like, man, I have a 74-year-old who is an amazing swimmer. She's relentless when it comes to swimming. She won't let things stop her. She wants to learn. She wants to get faster. And I look at her and I can't imagine being 74 and being so dedicated to improving something like swimming. It's like, wow, I hope when I'm 74, I have that same resolve. So thank you, basically. Thank you, and thank all my clients for keeping me motivated. So it's actually really, really nice. I like what I do.
Yeah, no, being around motivational people, being around people that are achieving it at a high level in your industry, outside of your industry, it all helps. Like, that's part of why we started our coaching program for real estate agents. Like, yes, we want to help other agents through our platform, through Hyperfast Agent, but we also get even more back in return from being around people that are motivated and want to, get from where they are, which is a pretty high level for a lot of them, to even higher level.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let everyone know if they have any questions about your training, your coach, your businesses, whatever. Where can they reach you? How can they reach you?
Yeah, if you're a realtor or real estate agent in the DMV area, want to learn more about our team, you can go to carryshoalcareers.com. If you're an agent anywhere, want to learn about our training program and or events that we do or masterminds, you can go to hyperfastagent.com. You can email me at info@hyperfastagent.com. My personal social media handle for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that is the Dan Lesniak, so you can connect with me there. And if you want to download 100 real estate tips and strategies, you can go to hyperfasttips.com.
Have you ever met another Dan Lesniak?
I have not.
But you went with the Dan Lesniak, so there was no confusion?
There's other... Yeah, I was trying to get the same handle on all platforms.
I got
some were taken
already?
Yeah, I think there's a lot in Poland or somewhere. I don't know.
That's funny. All right, fair enough. All right. Thanks again for being on. Really appreciate it. You'll probably be one of our reoccurring guests. Just so you know, we have guests that we like to have on frequently because we like talking to them. So hopefully we can do this again in the near future. Hopefully we'll do it in our podcast studio in May. We'll see.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.